You know, a lot of people are discovering about private prisons. Well, you know, a lot of ICE facilities they're using are privately owned prisons, which we in Black America has been one to always call out private prisons because that's complete corruption. When we found out that the contracts with the state say they have to guarantee them a 90% occupancy. You're like, wait a minute, how you guarantee a 90% occupancy? They put charges on black people, throwing black people in jail for a bunch of nothing so they can put people in prison so they can fulfill that contract. Now, so they're using private prisons for the ICE detainees. And now they're starting to figure out what black people were saying. Let's go ahead and check that out.
A big part of why these raids are happening is very sinister. I go into these detention centers. There's all sorts of people in there, right? There's farm workers, there's day laborers, there's people who've been here for 20 years who have, multiple U.S. citizen kids. The way that these people in these detention centers keep in touch with their kids is they make phone calls. And these phone calls, they get charged $5 per phone call. And the way they make money in these detention centers is they work. And for a full day of work, they get paid $1. And so the people in there, right, the fathers who want to talk to their kids, they work a full week to make one phone call with their kids.
I mean, that's slavery. I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
It absolutely is.
I'm a regular person. I can say whatever I want. That's slavery.
All of these detention centers are run by private for-profit prison companies, and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars for every single person who's in there. That's why they're not just going after criminals or people with criminal convictions. They're just finding anybody with brown skin.
Right.
Because they're looking for bodies to put into these prisons so they can keep on stealing from taxpayers.
That's crazy.
These for-profit prison companies donate almost an equal amount between Republicans and Democrats.
Right, yeah.
And that explains so much about why Trump is back. Because you have on the Republican side a party that is attacking immigrants and saying immigrants are the cause of all of the problems in this country. And Democrats are trying to fight back and say, hey, actually, immigrants are not so bad. But they're fighting with one arm, saying immigrants are not so bad, and their other arm is tied behind their back by all these for-profit prison companies that they're taking checks from. I think that's something that needs to change about not just California, but politics in general, which is this money in politics that causes our politicians to serve the interests of these corporations and these special interests rather than regular people. And that's why our campaign is only taking donations from regular people. I think that's the right way to do politics because it allows us to speak with honesty and with authenticity. And what California needs to do is to shut these for-profit detention centers down.
For years, Black Americans have been, and many advocates and activists have been calling out the private prisons, the things that's been happening to a lot of brothers and sisters in these private prisons, and especially white America. They support any kind of just treat people any kind of way because they got accused of a crime. And by the 13th Amendment, they can enslave you when in prison. They can. And it should be a movement to amend the 13th Amendment because nobody should be put into slavery. Nobody. I think in prison, yeah, you can say they should work, but they should get paid minimum wage at least. That way it won't be a savage mentality in the jail because everybody can work and they can buy their own commissary and everything else for themselves. It gets put on their account and they can just use it for whatever they need to use it for. So that way people are working minimum wage. And then, the guys got their food or ladies got their food or anything else they need in prison. But they don't want it like that. They don't want to pay. So now they're doing it to other groups, and now they say that in order for them to make a call, they gotta work at least 5 days for one call while they're in there. And now it's an issue, it's a problem, and now you're raising the alarm. See, we have told you many times that what they like to do is to do the oppression on Black America first, perfect the oppression, then bring it to the rest of you. And when it happens to Black America, a lot of you don't care. Say, oh, that's some black people. They criminal. They this, they that, or whatever, right? But here's the thing. You cannot contain absolute power to one group of people. You cannot contain corruption only to one group of people. That kind of mindset, greed and all of that is cancerous. It's cancerous. And anybody know anything about cancer, You can't just let it stay festering in one part of your body because it's going to spread everywhere. That's why they do everything to get that cancer out of your body. You understand what I'm saying? So you have a cancer in the politics of America. You have a lot of greedy people that will do anything because they want to make money. Prison is business in America. When you see private prison corporations trading on the New York Stock Exchange, you know it is a prison. And they make money with prison. They have all this money for a police budget, but yet the crime never goes down. Then when the crime goes down, you're trying to figure out ways to criminalize people on BS because you want to keep the private prison industry full. We shouldn't have a private prison industry. A lot of black people that go to jail, they're not locked up on like some serious offenses. A lot of it is nonviolent. But they want to throw us in jail, prison. I'm going to say prison more so than anything else. Now you're doing it to these other groups, and now we're raising the alarm. Maybe if you would have raised the alarm when you were doing this to Black America and mass incarcerating Black America, this wouldn't have touched you. See, let me tell you other groups something. Sometimes you need to stand up, not because you care about Black people, not because you care about us, because you don't want that to happen to you. Because think about it. If you would have stood up when it was happening with us being mass incarcerated and the way we were being treated in these prisons, then we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. You're always going to find out eventually. Just like the folks, I ain't worried about that. When Black people talk about affordability, they just lazy. When Black people talk about the quality of the health care, quality of food, the Blacks, they just shiftless, they whatever. And now all of it is on your shoulders now. When you should have did something about it back then. Because see, as long as they treated you good, it was all good. Now they're bringing the same tactics to all of you. And that's why Black people are like, yeah, whatever. We told you. Don't come over here crying now. You didn't care when it happened to us. Black people, what's wrong with you? You're being heartless. No, we're not. We're acting just like you was acting. You didn't care about us being incarcerated. You didn't care about us working for $1 a day. You didn't care. So why should I care about anybody else? That is a warranted response. Don't you think? Sometimes you got to let people find out on their own. Sometimes. And then sometimes when you learn that good hard lesson, then later you could come back and say, well, Black people, I get it. I'm not going to make that mistake again. I said, oh, really? Okay. Well, hopefully you learned a good lesson. You understand? It's crazy. I know it's crazy, but these people are greedy. That's why I told y'all a long time ago on this microphone. These people aren't fit to lead anything. But if you're from a descendant from a colonizer slave master, no, you're never fit to lead anything. That's why everything you do, it has some sort of corruption to it. Because your whole nation was started by corrupt manner. But hopefully y'all figured that thing out. Because if you'd have stood on business a long time ago, this wouldn't be an issue.